KC24 is launching a new series called Family Focus. The goal, to show you the importance of early childhood development, especially during the first 5 years of a child's life. So if you are a parent, head to your TV screen right now, because here to help kick off our series are Kendra Rogers, the Executive Director of First 5 Fresno County, and Dr. Melissa Aguirre. Good morning to both you ladies. I'm really excited about this segment that we're starting with you, Kendra, because it's a way to let families and parents know really the importance of the first 5 years. But you, as an expert in your field, what can you tell them about that right now? I mean, sometimes we think, oh, they're little, they'll be fine. I don't need to do this, this, or that.
Right. Well, as Dr. Aguirre can speak to, most of the brain develops in the first 5 years, and it's really the first 3 years where the most dramatic brain growth occurs. And so, you know, as we say, there's no rewind in life, so we can't go back and rebuild that period. So it's so important, and that's why First 5 exists, is to raise awareness about how important and how critical those first 5 years are to a child's development, and really to be here to provide the supports and the resources for our community so that our children are growing healthy and thriving and becoming productive members of our community.
And we're going to educate parents, and we're going to inform them. We're going to give them checklists. We're going to tell them where they can go for more information and referrals. But let me start with you, Dr. Aguirre, to talk about brain developing, the brain and how it develops, starting from a newborn to 2 months. I mean, how do we help stimulate the brain this early on?
So I like to tell parents, you can think about it as like a tree that needs to be pruned by a careful farmer. And so the brain goes through a pruning process. So when you're first born, all of the neurons are there, so all of the little connections. But as you're getting older, those connections develop into the important connections for life. And if it's not pruned, or you don't get that stimulation and that interaction with your parents and other people that are important to you, then the wrong connections get made. And as Kendra said, you can't rewind. So it makes it challenging to learn later on in life. And so that's why it's so important to really be there for your children, and for us to really see what children are doing and watch them, so that we can help them through that process.
So how do we prune correctly? Where do we start?
So some of the big things are really just starting by talking to your baby and looking at your baby and listening, because at the very first days of life, your baby knows the sound of your voice and loves to look at your face. Even though they can't see very well, that development is already started.
Because we were looking at that video of the brain, and you could see exactly where the hearing, so is that what we were looking at?
Exactly. And so those, even in the first days of life, the child will understand hearing and vision is developing, as well as communication. So, and by 2 months of age, they start to wait for you to say something, and then they'll start to vocalize. So really soon, that develops if they've had that opportunity to really have that human contact. So you don't need a lot of noisy toys. What you need is interaction with your family.
I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think a lot of people believe we need to buy the little toys that talk and all that, but no, that's not the case.
No, they want us. They need human touch. They need that interaction, and having multiple interactions as well. So for, you know, it's not just the parents. We talk about how important the whole family is, so the grandparents, the aunts and uncles, you know, all of the people that are coming in contact with children, we have to be communicating and engaging them.
These are critical periods of brain development that we're looking at on the screen right now, beginning with visual and auditory, which you just mentioned. Can you refer to this list a little bit more, Dr. Aguirre, like language, physical and motor skills, and emotional and social skills, how important those are in the first couple of months of life?
So in the first months, vision and auditory are taking place, but this is also emotional and social development that's key. A baby is starting to learn, is this going to be a safe environment for me? Is this someone I can trust? And they like faces. So your face is wonderful, but if you start with stories with faces of children are great to show them. They like contrast, and they like to hear your voice. They like human voices instead of more of the beeping and motion of the toys. And if you, so babies don't actually learn from those CDs and the other things the way they learn from actual voices and human contact.
Using a book, like,
and a book is a great way. This is for an older child, because as they go through their months, 6-month-olds will start to mouth the book, or they'll pat it, and you can start to show them, even though they can't speak, they're starting to learn language quite a bit. And so they have a great vocabulary in their mind that they haven't learned how to use effectively yet.
Wow.
So you can label, and they love to touch and feel. They love to hear the sound of your voice saying, rasca la gruesa piel del elefante bebé. And you can say, look at the elephant's ear. This is what it feels like. Wow.
Wow.
Do you see an elephant at the zoo? And you start to relate things to their life, so that in those first few months, vision is developing, and then 6 months, 9 months, motor starts to develop. You know, these are active kids. They don't want to stay in one place.
Yeah.
They want to explore the world. That's not a bad child. That's a smart child.
Yeah, I guess we always thought, look, they're running around.
Exactly.
They must be bad. Well, we have on the screen, we're going to put up a list of how we can stimulate this brain development. And we've talked about interaction, touch, stable relationships, a self-healthy environment, self-esteem, even at this age. Wow.
And really, self-esteem is trying to mirror what you're doing. So if you are loving and kind to a child, they feel like, wow, somebody cares about me, and that builds their self-esteem. So people tend to think that it's praising a child all the time, which is not building self-esteem. It's actually interacting in a way that's healthy. So putting limits when limits need to be there, says, I love you enough to keep you safe. And explaining things instead of yelling in a calm way helps to say that what you have to say is important to me, and I'm going to listen, and then we're going to talk about it.
Well, this is really great that we're starting to kick off this series, and I know if you could just really quickly, because now we're almost out of time, Kendra, but tell us why it was important for First Five to help us with this.
Because children are the future of this valley, and if we're not making sure that we have safe and healthy kids, that we have stable families that are supporting those kids in communities that care, we don't have much of a future as a valley. So it was really important to us, and it was great partnering with KC24 on this, and we're really looking forward to it.
Well, you can also find all of these segments on our website, centralvalleytoday.com, and you can also go to the First Five Fresno County website as well. And Dr. Aguirre, I hope we're going to be seeing more of you in the coming days.
I'd be happy to talk with you at any time. When we focus on our children, we really are focusing on making the valley as successful as possible.
That's so true. That's so true. Well, coming up tomorrow, we're going to go over a checklist, and we're going to get pretty specific tomorrow about what you should be looking out for in your baby's development in the first couple of months and even years. So make sure to stick around for that, because every day we're going to do something different to educate our viewers on the importance. Thank you so very much, Kendra, and thank you, Dr. Aguirre. We'll talk soon. All right.